Hi, everybody. Welcome along to episode 137 of Percussion Discussion. As usual, before we get going, I'm going to ask you to please check out all of our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, our world famous YouTube channel, where you can find all of our conversations, past and present, with the video to accompany. Please subscribe. It only takes a second, and you won't find any adverts getting in the way on the YouTube channel, but it does help to grow it. So appreciate that. Thank you. If you'd rather listen on the go, then all of our conversations are available in podcast form, and these are free to download from your favorite podcast provider. All the usual suspects are there. If you could rate and review, again, this really, really helps us. It might not seem like much to you, but to me, it's huge. So again, thank you if you do that. On today's guest, we're firmly back in the Legends Lounge again. Oh gosh, way back at the start of Percussion Discussion, I can't remember. It was maybe around episode 23, 24. We had another legendary drummer, and it was this legendary drummer's brother. We had Carmine, I should say, Carmine Appice, who gave us a great interview. And 100 or so episodes later on, we've managed to get his brother. And Vinny has played on some of the biggest, most iconic rock records that there are. Was with Black Sabbath for a long time, and of course played on most of the classic Dio back catalogue. He's even played for John Lennon. I mean, what more do you want? So it gives me great pleasure to welcome the fabulous Mr. Vinny Appice.
Hey, my pleasure, man. It's always good to talk drums and percussion.
Well,
That's what I do.
That's my sentiment exactly, and I do quite a lot of it. And but you know what drummers are like. The minute they get together, it usually takes about 5 seconds before it goes into equipment and drums and vintage drums, and it's always
Right.
the same. And I'm guessing, is it the same with everybody that you speak to, drummer wise?
Yeah, drummer wise, the drummers seem to get along better than a room full of guitar players with singers. If you can get a room full of singers, who knows? But yeah, drummers seem to have a good relationship with each other. They talk and talk about the equipment and the gear and the gigs, and now it's becoming talking about pain. Because we're getting older. Oh man, my shoulder and this and that stuff. So that's interesting too.
But
So.
do you know, not only talking about gigs and stuff, but sharing ideas, drum clinics. I love drum clinics, and I wish there was more of them these days. I put some on over here in the UK and masterclasses and things. And it's not,
Yeah.
I don't know if guitarists do that. I don't know if that's the thing that they do, or is the egos too giant for that? Who knows?
Some people do it. The thing with clinics is you have to you have to be more of a people person,
Mm.
and a lot of guys feel uncomfortable being on a stage without the band.
Yeah.
You're out there pretty much by yourself, and so if you're not comfortable with that, it's probably not meant for you.
Yeah.
But I started a long time ago in the '80s, and then I also taught lessons, and I like teaching, so it was a natural for me. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of clinics now,
No.
whether they guitar or drums or bass. Everything's kind of on the internet. So
It is. It is. And you can, there's nothing you can't see on there, but there's nothing better than being sat 10 feet away from the likes of yourself,
right.
watching up close. You can't, it's not the same when you watch it on a screen, is it? It never is.
No, because when you're at a clinic, I remember going as a kid, Sam Ash store in Brooklyn, New York, and you're sitting 4 or 5 feet from the drum set, whether it's Billy Cobham or my brother or whoever else, and it's pretty powerful.
Mm.
Seeing somebody right there playing, he could be your hero or somebody you respect. Just right there, it's in your face. Totally different.
Exactly. And the fact that you can go up and speak to them afterwards, you can shake their hand, you can ask them a question. Can't do that on the internet, can you? Well, not on YouTube. You
Not
can't.
really, yeah. I do a live stream
Yeah.
every Tuesday at 4 p.m. LA time, Pacific time, and I play the music, and then I play a little bit and answer questions, tell stories. and then we do question thing at the end.
Mm.
My girlfriend Lala, she reads the questions because this monitor is too far away for me to see.
Yeah.
And she picks the questions, and then I'll answer them, whether it's a demonstration of a lick or equipment or stories. You know, people like stories.
Oh yeah.
I'll make them up. No, I'm kidding.
So do you have to do a lot of preparation for that, Vinny, or do you just kind of? I assume these are songs you've played through your career.
Well, the problem with this is the copyright protection on Facebook. I don't know what their problem is, and why they allow it. Because I heard you can go on different platforms and play a Black Sabbath song, play a Dio song.
Mm.
But when I do it, it almost gets shut down.
Yeah,
like you got no right to play this song. I copy, and some of them I'm on the songwriting part of it too. A lot of Dio stuff. It's like, what is your problem, man? I'm just playing the song and promoting the song.
Yeah.
And I'm not selling the song to profit here. Yeah, it's promoting the song. So I don't understand what their problem is, but so I play through a lot of stuff that I recorded that are more deep cuts with different bands and stuff. And I wish I could play Sabbath and Dio, but they won't let me.
Mm.
They're the powers that be. But there is a lot of preparation. I'll start around 12 noon, and I start getting a drum sound. I do it back here.
Yeah.
There's the drums behind me. And make sure the sounds are good, no distortion. Then I'll pick the songs I want and play to it. Usually I don't remember all the parts of the song, even though I played on it. But that's the fun bit. It's loose.
Yeah.
And it takes a while. It takes like at least 3 hours to get the sound right. Because each song's different. Sometimes I'll switch out mics and things like that. So I want it to sound good.
Of course.
You know, and Sawtooth, which is my drum company over there.
Yep.
They sponsor it, and they are great. They're totally proactive. The owner is a drummer. His name is Joe Fuco. And so these drums here are the high-end hickory
Oh,
drums.
nice.
They sound great. So on the stream, they sound really, really good.
Did you say hickory drums?
Yeah.
Unusual.
6 of hickory.
Unusual wood. Normally the sticks, isn't it?
I know. They have another one that's is it alderwood, a white wood. It's a cheaper set, and that sounds great too. So they're called Sawtooth.
So what kind of quality does hickory have then for making a drum? Is it similar to birch?
Well, I had birch with Tama a long time ago. Those were good. These seem to have a little bit more low end with the sound.
Mm.
But as you can see, the tom-toms, they're a little bit more deep.
Yeah.
You know? If you see it. Let's see it.
Oh, yeah, that's better. Yeah.
I'm in the way all the time. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Yeah.
So they're pretty deep toms. And they got a lot of crack on the top end of it and then a lot of low end. They sound great in the studio, too. So that's what I use live. And I got a set here and a set on the East Coast as well.
Mm. So
great company.
when you started doing the Facebook Live, did you have much difficulties getting the sound out to Facebook and getting it balanced and EQ'd? I can imagine. Yes,
because I have Focusrite sound cards. They're actually over there. They were actually 2 units.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of sessions here too. I'll record here. And I thought, well, I can just take the output of that and go right into the computer. I had to figure out how to do this. But what happens is Facebook only takes input 1 and 2.
Right.
And it goes out.
So it's a stereo mix.
Stereo mix. So you can't have 8 mics plugged in and think it's going to go out to Facebook. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So what happens is you got to use a mixer or 2. And then the output of that goes into input 1 and 2.
Sure.
Focusrite out to Facebook. So it took a while to figure out what the heck is going on with this. And there's always something, there's always something. And one show a couple of weeks ago, I just put the camera here. It's just a good webcam. And I got a little intro thing, and it says, hey, Vinny Appice. So I get up to go behind the drums, and I knock the camera on the floor. I went, oh, shit. And you can see the rug and all this stuff. So, we get a lot of people, the same people tuning in. It's loose. It's like a hangout.
That's
Oh,
nice.
sorry about that. And then I put the camera back up, and it was crooked. It looked like Batman, Batman when they film on angles, like all these weird angles. So it's fun.
Shows you're human, doesn't it? And people like stuff like that.
Yeah. It's anything can happen. Sometimes the sound goes funny, something happened. Usually it's me. I plugged it in the wrong input or the headphones. I got it down pretty good now.
So tell me, for the tracks you use, do you have to get the original stems and put click on them, or how do you just?
Nah, I just play to the songs.
Do you with drums on as well?
I'll play to like World War III, a band I was with Jimmy Bain years ago. I'll play to that, or some stuff I did with Jim Crean. He's a singer I'm working with. He played with me and Carmine at some of our gigs, Drum Wars, and we did an album together. And I played to that. I played to a couple of crazy albums. I got a couple of songs with Phil Moog that were unreleased, so I could play that. And band Axis from the 70s I played with. So I mix them all up, and so that makes I don't have the time to sit there with a click.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to put a click on, because these songs a lot of them weren't recorded with a click.
Yeah.
So I just play along. Sometimes it goes off, but it's, hey, the hell.
Well, I think it's a great thing to do, and I wish more did it. I mean, did it stem from lockdown? Because I know you had a great show with you. Was it Hanging and Banging with Carmine?
Hanging and Banging.
That was a cool show. I always enjoyed that.
That was good, and it was a show with me, Carmine, and then Ron Onesti, who owns a couple of great theaters in Chicago area. One of them's the Arcada Theater, and I'm playing there on Saturday with the thing I'm doing now called Sabbath Nights, which is me playing a lot of Sabbath songs. I'm on some Dio and a little bit of old Sabbath as well. So we're playing at the Arcada Theater on Saturday, whatever that date is, the 18th or 19th. So it was the three of us, and we had guests on. We had Ted Nugent one time. We had all different people, But then that was when everybody was home because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Then when it let up, people started to get busy. It was hard to get people on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So,
tell me about it.
That's how I started with the drum stream.
Yeah.
But the drum stream's just me. So it's easy to keep it going. And people tune in, and I try to teach things, and it's on the spur of the moment, because I'm probably doing it for 3 years now. So you can't really figure out, what am I going to teach today? Sometimes I'm playing, I go, oh, that's cool. And once I finish, I go, let me show you what this lick is, and break it down, play it slow, how to use it, all that stuff. So.
And I think that's really good, really great thing to do for the community as well, for the drumming community. So
yeah,
good on
actually,
you.
The community. I did my great nephew's kindergarten class. They were 5 and 6 years old, and I went there because he got an award, and I'm sitting there thinking, it'd be cool to bring drums in here. They're all these little kids, and see what they think, and teach them a little bit about music. So we arranged for a date, and a couple of weeks ago, I brought this little kit. It's actually up there, the red kit.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Where the hell is it? Well, it's up there anyway.
Is it behind the door? Yeah.
Yeah, so I brought that, just a floor tom, snare, kick, and they're small, but they're bright red, and I thought the kids would love the look of it, and they went crazy. They were fantastic. And at the end, we played We Will Rock You. Had the room going boom, 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 boom. That side of the room answered this side of the room. And it was funny. And we got all the kids up to play. And even the principal came up and played. And the
Right.
teacher came up and played, and the teacher and the principal played just like the kindergartens. They weren't very good.
Did they? I mean, I know they're only young kids, but did the teachers? Do they know of your kind of
Yeah,
your
yeah,
career?
yeah, because they told them, this is Vinny, and I play with all these bands and blah blah blah. So the kids loved it. I had their attention for an hour,
Wow,
the whole hour. Usually these kids are like 10 minutes, and their attention span's quick. So we had a good time. So that
that's
was
cool.
fun.
I love it. I love hearing stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So let's go back a little bit, Vinny. Let's go back to kind of what's your first memory of music? I'm guessing this is probably going to have something to do with Carmine. From
Yeah.
you know,
Well, he's 11 years older than I,
yeah,
and he used to have the band rehearse at the house in Brooklyn,
right,
right? Not the Vanilla Fudge, but the local band he was in. And, they'd set up in this room we called the porch. It was right facing the street. And they'd come over with the amps and guitars and the wires and the equipment. And I was really young, and I'd sit there and go, "This is pretty cool. Wow. For a 9-year-old kid, this is great entertainment." So just looking at all the gear too, is inspiring. So that was my kind of intro to music,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then Carmine went on from there. He played. We had a hi-fi, and he played a lot of music on the hi-fi. So did my parents, my mother mainly, and then he started getting successful and famous. And we used to go see him all the time. My
yeah.
parents always went to see him, and they brought me and my sister Terry. And yeah, I was like, wow, my brother's playing all these people. Wow, because the fudge became big, vanilla fudge. So that got my fire going. And then I started practicing. I went to the same drum teacher as him, as Carmine did, because he came home one day, heard me play, and he told my parents, you should send him for lessons because he's got something.
Hmm.
So I went 3 years for lessons, $5 a lesson back
Wow.
then, 2 buses to get there, city buses. And he was a great teacher. His name is Dick Bennett. He just passed away a couple of years ago, but it's great. And I tell these kids today, I go, you know what? I've taken lessons for 3 years, and most of it was on the pad,
Yeah, yeah,
drum pad, reading books. Only went to the drums on the jazz book, and learned the discipline with your hands and what you were playing, all that. These days, everybody wants to learn, hey, what's that John Bonham lick and Neil Peart and blah, blah, blah. You want to take the shortcut. That's
I
great.
don't think there is a shortcut, really, is it? You've got to put the work in. It's as simple as that. I think.
Well, you could learn a lick, but you don't know what the hell you're playing.
Oh, no background to it.
When you go study with the lessons is different than you just read pages and go to the next page, and that's not studying. Studying, staying on the pages. I used to do 3 pages a week, 2 books, total 3.
Hmm.
And that's studying. It's like studying something. You want to remember it.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, when you hear a lick that you like, you can visualize what that is. It could be an 8th note with 2 16ths, pop, pop, don't, or pop, better don't, how you want to do it. So you can visualize how to play, and you pick up faster, And in those books, I always bring that up. It says, practice each exercise 20 times. And if you count 20, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And most people will play it 2 times and go, okay, next. But that really doesn't do much for you, The whole thing with 20 times is your mind has to be focused. Because you could be playing, and I do it. I go, oh man, I got to go move my car. Sprinklers are going to go off. And then I messed it up. So that's a discipline for your mind as well. Try to do it, nonstop, almost 20 times.
Yeah.
It's good. That's good for you.
Definitely. So I'm guessing then if you're working from books, you learned to read at 10 or 11 or whatever age you were when you went for lessons.
They're stick control.
Yeah.
Syncopation, All-American Drummer, Jim Chapman, jazz book. Actually,
Syncopation, is that the Ted Reed book?
yes.
Yeah,
And Ted
yeah.
Reed is the teacher that taught our teacher.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
You can't see it now because it's on that floor, Tom.
Uh-huh.
The books are there, and see, there's the music stand.
Yeah.
And a pair of sticks. And I'll sit down as much as I can, at least 3 times a week, and go through some pages, brush up on it, and those books still rock.
Well, they're kind of like the Bible for
Yeah,
drums.
Bible.
Let's be honest, and they're all in my collection here somewhere or other, and use them.
And then I got my original book, like stick control, that I bought and went through, because my drum teacher used to write the date,
Right.
and it'd be like February 2nd, 1969, and the book cost $1.50.
Wow.
So I got a couple of the first books I had.
And all the notes still in it. All the teacher's notes in there still.
Yes, the dates mainly. He would put a check mark. He said, go here and then go to the exercise to an X. That was the lesson. And then the next book, syncopation, same thing. And that's what I had to practice that week.
I don't think young drummers these days have the patience. As you say, they want everything yesterday.
Exactly. Well, look at all the stuff around now. You got cell phones, laptops, computers, internet, movies. Back when I started this, we had 7 channels on TV, and a hi-fi. Didn't have these headphones, and you had speakers and stuff like that. So different time, you know.
We only had 3 channels in the UK, so that's even worse.
I know that. I've been there when there were 3 channels. And it's usually all the 3 channels went off by the time we finished the gig.
Yeah, midnight, that was it.
Hotel.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching BBC. And then it went off. You go, oh, man.
Oh,
no TV.
Me.
It got better later on, but that was terrible.
So it's good to know that you've still got your reading chops if you need them. Do you ever, excuse me, do you write any parts for anything, or is it just there as if you need it?
I did. One time a magazine wanted me to write the drums chart to We Rock, a Dio song, very fast song. I mean, that was hard, and it's not a proper chart.
Yeah.
It's what I hear and what I could write.
Yeah.
I'm not a chart.
It's not a transcription.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did it, and it was pretty close. So I did that. And I even wrote a book called Rock Steady. It was just on one subject, a couple things. And but that was easy. But I don't really write anything. Haven't in a long time. So.
But it's still nice to have the ability to look at something and you can play it. You might not need to do it, but it's there. I mean, all the gigs I do are all reading gigs. I'm kind of lazy now. I won't do if I have to learn something. It's like, nah, I just got the music. Yeah,
I do it by ear. I'll write a cheat sheet like intro 4 times, guitar, 16 note, 1 bar fill into the verse, chorus. I'll write that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, this kind of takes me to my next point, if you like. And I know this has been much talked about, but when you joined Sabbath, it was kind of pretty short notice, wasn't it? There was, you didn't have like months and months to learn the set, did you?
No, they called up and then they said, do you want to come down? We're looking for a drummer. We just got in town. We had to postpone our gig in Denver. And you want to come down and meet Tony Iommi? I said, yeah, that sounds good. I wasn't a huge Sabbath fan. I was more of a Zeppelin fan. And so I went down to meet Tony, and we hit it off very well. And he had an album that I did called Axis.
Yes.
It was produced by Andy Johns. It's got a really good drum sound on it. And he liked it. He liked the way I played. And we met, and we got along really good. And he invited me to go down the next day to meet Ronnie and the whole band and Geezer. And I did. And we only had like 4 days rehearsal to go play a big arena outdoor concert in Hawaii.
Wow.
So they were so happy. We played a bunch of songs, not many, but a couple of songs. First song was Neon Night. And because I didn't really know the songs that well. And then they were so excited that they found a drummer that looks like it's going to work that they went to the bar. There
Not
was a
quite
pub.
what you needed, that, yeah.
They go, they went to the pub, and I stayed back with the keyboard player, Jeff Nichols. He had a Walkman, and we went, tried to learn the songs that way, and then I'd take that home, and every minute I had, I listened to that, and wrote the charts and the cheat sheets. And
Sure.
And then the next day we played longer, and then the same thing happened. They went to the pub. And the third day they started getting nervous. So it's like we better crack down on this, get through most of the set. And we did. And then the fourth day they were really nervous. I was like, whatever. I do as much as I can, and then we'll wing it. And that's what we did. Some of the endings were quite long, but we did it,
So
actually, I had the cheat sheet. It was a book, and I would turn the pages, right? And it started raining middle of the set, and the book got all wet. So it started bubbling, and the ink was running, and all this crap happened. And I couldn't even use the book at the end. So just wing it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Can you remember how many shows was it before it clicked and you kind of went, yeah, I know this. This is in my bones now?
Probably within 2 weeks.
That's good.
Started getting tight. And then after that, it got tighter and tighter, and started putting my own style in there as well as Bill's parts. Because we're two different kind of drummers. Bill played some amazing parts on these songs. And so I copied a lot of that. And then there's certain things I did my way. Because, I'm not Bill Ward, and it worked.
But do you know, it must have been nerve-wracking for you both, because I don't think Sabbath had ever played with another drummer before. And all of a sudden,
right.
It's a new guy who doesn't play the same.
No, and not only that, here's a new drummer that's younger, and then I'm from a different part of the world.
Yeah.
But it gelled, I gelled with Tony, learned how to play more behind the beat and heavy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you know what, I went into that with an open mind, and eyes were open to learn from these guys, listen carefully. There's a lot of that old Sabbath stuff that starts out on one tempo. Certain parts get pushed, then they come back, or they're entirely different tempos.
Yeah.
It's almost a little jazz in there.
Oh, definitely.
And, so I had to pay attention to what was going on, And so with Tony playing behind the beat, so was Geezer, I learned to play, just a little bit behind, make it really heavy.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to do, to explain that to somebody else who perhaps doesn't understand. That I can't do it. I find it easier to play slightly in front than behind. I think it's an easier thing to do.
Play front.
Yeah.
I used to listen to the metronome, and even on the show, I'll talk about that steadiness, and I'll do a fill, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, leave that big hole, but not rush into it.
Yes, yeah.
Or when the fill goes around to the floor toms, some guys might go rush the floor toms. There's no reason to rush on those floor toms. You keep it steady. Bop, bop, boom, 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 boom. Come right in, you hear that. I hear it in my head all the time.
Sure. And it's nice to leave holes. I like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. It's almost harder to play those open boom, bop, boom, down. The holes in there than the fast stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's so many notes to get you through.
Yeah.
But in both cases, it's got to be steady.
Sure.
It's got to be on right with not with a click, but steady within yourself.
Yeah.
And driving the band.
Another thing I really like, which is in a similar sort of vein, is, you do your big fill and then don't put the crash on the downbeat, put it on the next snare. So do I really
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
good.
I think
And
that's,
I'll do like fills at a bar and a half.
yeah,
When
I've
I'm playing with
noticed
a
you.
band or jam. I want sometimes two bars, and they're going, "Oh shit!" And I come in, but the fill is taking up two bars, or why not? Keeps the band on their toes.
That's a good thing. And you've mentioned that and about the bar and a half fill and stuff. You have there's not too many drummers that have their own. You have your own footprint straight away. You know it's you when
Right,
you hear it, and I think that's a hard thing to get. There's not that's why not many do it. There's a few,
right.
obviously.
You can't
Bonham,
practice it so much.
yeah,
It's got to come. It's got to come alive by itself from
yeah.
playing and your experience and all this, and listening to yourself. I was lucky because I remember as a kid going, "What? How am I going to sound like? What am I going to sound like?" And that kind of stuff. But then eventually, okay, I get what's going on, and then I play musically. I hear the song. I don't just play on top of the song. I try to play in the song, and I play musically, like with some of the fills. If you could sing the fill, boom, 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 I could sing the fills.
Yeah.
A lot of guys play off the cuff. They don't know what they played. But I play differently where it's more musical. But it works both ways. I'm not saying
Oh,
it's me, but I just developed that style.
but it does. You do have that signature, whether you intended it or not. That signature style and sound, and I like that. There's a few drummers that have it, and you're lucky enough to have it, which is it's a nice thing. And let's be honest, it's kept you in solid employment for the last I don't know however many years, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then people say, "Wow, I knew that was you on the drums." And this, I take that as a compliment. Well, thank you very much. That's pretty cool. But the other thing is, I'm a nice guy. I'm not a scumbag. I'm not a jerk. Uh, I'm on time with all these bands. Actually, with Black Sabbath, we used to rehearse at 1 o'clock in the afternoon out here in California,
Huh?
and I'd pull up about 20 to 1 or 12:30. Tony's in there getting his sound on his guitar, messing with his gear. Geezer arrives right there, and then boom, behind him's Ronnie. Everybody's there before
Hmm.
start time, and they care and they want to make it the best it could be. So, and then later on, I play with a band called Kill Devil Hill. Rex Brown from Pantera. I love the way Rex plays; he's fantastic. But the band itself couldn't. We needed a clock. Everybody was I got tired of it. Mainly, it was one guy in the band that just an hour and a half late and this and that. And after a while, I went, okay, I can't deal with this. It's a waste of my time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm being there, sitting there for an hour and a half waiting. But it was fun. It was a great band, and Rex was great. Rex was cool. He was there. He just blew the amps up all the time, but he was there on time. So,
It's a
but you
massive
gotta you
part of
gotta
it.
be you gotta be a team player,
Yeah, yeah.
and then people work with you when you're an a-hole. You go, well, what about that guy? Man, he's got a hot problem. He's got a blade or whatever the problem is. So got to be part of a team.
Absolutely. And it's got you this far. And the thing is, you've kind of, and I say this quite a lot. Even if you finish with a band, you never burn any bridges, do you? You're always welcome back.
True. That's right. I know people that burn bridges, and then years later, it comes back to haunt them. I mean, I left Dio. I left actually twice. And I tried to run it by Ronnie all the time when his time was right, and Wendy, and I always kept in touch.
Mm.
And then later on, they put Heaven and Hell together, which is
Yes.
Black Sabbath.
Yes.
And they were working with Cozy Powell at one point. Then he fell off a horse and couldn't play for a while.
Remember that.
Let's call Vinny. And then that was 92. And then later on in 2007, they did Heaven and Hell. and they were working with Bill Ward, and that wasn't working out. It's called Vinny. And luckily, I didn't burn any bridges. I didn't do anything like that. And I was in touch with Wendy Dio. He said, "You want to play with the guys again?" I said, "Sure, that'd be awesome." And I went, and that brought my career back in the spotlight.
Sure.
You know, we Black Sabbath back together, like again. So you can't burn the bridges.
No,
it's not a good idea.
no. And did you know when you went back again? Did it just feel like putting on a pair of comfy shoes? You know, or did everything slot right back in again?
Yeah, well, we had a laugh because Wendy called me for Heaven and Hell, and she said, "You want to play with the guys?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we talked a bit, and we made a deal. Then at the end, I said, because I'm a jokester too, and so is Iommi. I said, "I got to tell you, Wendy, I gained a lot of weight. I had to get a special stool made because I'm like almost 300 pounds now." She went, "Oh." she already made a deal, you know. So I just thought I'd. So all right, we were cool. So I flew over to England, went to the hotel. Then they called up and said, "Why don't you come down to Tony's house? They're all over there. That's Tony's got a studio." Okay. So when I got there, I could hear somebody go, "Vinny's here," and they kind of peeked around the corner, like to see what I looked like. I walk in, they go, "You bastard!" And they were all laughing, had a beer, and that broke the ice completely. Kind of cruel, but yeah, I thought it was a good way to break the ice. What the heck?
Oh, that's
Tony
amazing.
loved it. You know, he's a practical joker. So
Oh, I heard a story about, and I can't remember where I heard it about. I think it was Tony Iommi's new car and something about an oil leak or something.
Oh, yeah.
Which I loved. That was a lovely story. Can you tell that one for us, Vinny?
Well, we were rehearsing in Wales. We're at which studio? Rockfield.
Okay.
I think we were at recording. And, so there's the old horse stables are converted into rooms that people could stay and record the album. And you just park in front of that, and the studio building's over there, the old house. And Tony pulls up one night and he comes in, he goes, "Man, I got a new car." "Oh, cool, Tom. What'd you get?" "A Range Rover. Really nice. Let's go see it." So we walk out, four of us, and we're looking at it. Beautiful, British racing green, the whole bit. And then, okay, cool. We didn't go for a ride or anything, but we went back in. Tony and Geezer went in, and Ronnie was in front of me, and I was behind Ronnie. And as we're walking in, I see a can of oil. I go, "Hey, Ron, it's a can of oil. Let's get the oil, pour it under his engine, and then we'll tell him it's leaking, but not from me because he'll know I'm messing around." So Ronnie has to tell him. So he goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He was like a kid. "Yeah." So we go back in, and I get the oil up for a bit underneath his engine. And we go in, and Ronnie leaves the room pretending he's going outside, get some air or something. Comes back in, he goes, "Hey, Tone, you got oil under your car." "Oh," and he said, well, listen. We go out there, and I kind of knew about cars. I worked on cars a little bit. He goes, "Vin, have a look," because I went, "It looks like that seal is with the oil pan gasket is leaking." "No," and I'm under the car laughing. And I get up, and Ronnie's in on it too. I don't know if Keys knew that at that point. And then, but it came back to haunt us because Tony called the Royal Auto Club to come out, and we were in the middle of Wales, so it cost them 200 pounds something for them to come out, and we had to tell them, "Oh shit, we were only jiving." I put the oil under there. You bastard, he was laughing. It was a good trick. And then the next day, Ronnie and I went to town, go get some food or groceries, whatever we wanted. Come back, and my room is destroyed. Furniture's upside down. There's shit all over the place. Porno magazines all over the place, and beds overturned. So I deserved it, but he got me back.
If you can give it, you got to take it, haven't you? It's as simple as that.
That's right. Right. And one time later on, this was a good one. It's in Tony's book. You know, I always have a hair dryer. So I sweat, and then I don't like to walk around with the sweating, wet hair because I get sick that way. Just the way I am. So I had a hair dryer, and it wasn't working good. So I had Mike, may he rest in peace, Tony's tech, have a look at it. I said, Mike, can you see maybe it's clogged up? You know, so I left it there. And this later on, we're playing again, and I'm in the room. They're in the control room playing. And they go, okay, Ben, that's good. Come on in. And they're watching me. Okay, so I get the hair blower and I go to do this, but he put powder in it. So, I look like a ghost. I went, you bastard, he got me. So then I open the door and I walk in, and they all look, and they were cracking up on the floor, just laughing their ass off.
Yeah.
I went, okay, that was a good one. And Tony put a picture of that in the book.
Oh, I've got Tony's book, so I must. I've just heard.
Have a look.
I've just read Geezer's book as well, so that's it. That's a good.
Yeah, I got Geezer's book. Yeah, because I just finished playing. We did a number of takes, and now I'm sweating. I go, yeah, I want to dry off. Powder everywhere. He got me good.
It sounds like it was a real fun atmosphere working with Sabbath.
Yeah, it was great. It was lovely.
So there was no, you know, because you think of these bands and you think, oh, there must have been days when it was like, oh, but it sounds like it was pretty plain sailing.
Yeah, it was. And then a couple of times I'd play live when we got real comfortable and do these crazy fills.
Yeah.
Sometimes Tony would go, I'm only one time, maybe you shouldn't do that big long drum fill there. Well, okay, Tony, that's cool. Yeah, no problem. Next day, next night, I did more of them just to, you know, poke him. He knew he was laughing.
So it's kind of once you got comfortable with each other, it was
yeah.
It
was like that. It was that, you know.
I mean, let's talk about your relationship with Ronnie, because you know what, somebody asked me, you know, put like a fantasy band together from like rock metal musicians, and he's always the vocalist I would go for. When I hear hard rock, that's the voice I think of is Ronnie Dio. I mean,
right.
First time you heard him, you must have been blown away, as everyone else was.
Oh yeah, because we, you know, played in the room, and sometimes this album, The Humanizer, Ronnie and I lived in a house to write the songs with Tony and Geezer would come over in the day. They lived there in England. And Tony had a little amp. Geezer had a little amp. I had a little drum set. And Ronnie had this guitar amp with a plug with a microphone in it. And you could hear him almost without the amp.
Yeah.
And the number of times when Ronnie was doing a vocal, took a minute, and I walked in to go get something in that room where he's singing. The vocal booth is there, but he's singing in the room. And it's so loud. He was so loud. You know, you could hear the headphones going, but you hear just his voice.
Wow.
Holy shit. What power, you know? What power. And
special for such a small guy as well.
Yeah. You know, he used to play trumpet.
Yes, I read that in his
made
book.
Him play trumpet. Learned how to breathe.
Yeah.
Learned how to use his power from here. He didn't sing from the throat. And he didn't warm up. Any of the shows, there was no warm up. I play with singers, they're over in their room going, you know, warming up and all that. And then Ronnie's like, I'd go into his dressing room, like in Heaven and Hell tour, hang out. There was some people there. He's having a little bit of a drink and hang out. Then we come in and go, okay, come on, Ron, we got to go. Okay. Put the drink down, walk onto the stage and start Mob Rules.
Wow.
It's like screaming. So
God.
He never warmed up.
I mean,
sang from down here.
The footage from, it would be 2007, I guess, the Heaven and Hell tour. It's amazing. There's some such great stuff on YouTube. The band was absolutely on fire, wasn't it? The whole band at that point. Good memories from there, Vinny?
Oh, yeah. We played, and that was years later, too, live at Radio City Music Hall. We just got together for that tour. But before that, we weren't together for a while.
Yeah.
But it all came back. And it felt right, and it just tight, it locked in. And it was very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
And with that tour, we did a live DVD, live at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. And we came up with an ending for one of the songs, and we wanted to go over the song and the ending. So we're on stage at soundcheck, and we're playing through the song, and we're almost getting to the new ending. And they come on stage and go, stop, stop, stop. Well, who is this? It's the Union, New York Union.
Oh.
Can't play, it's Union break. And we never got to the end.
Oh, no.
This is Black Sabbath, and you're stopping the band. You won't even let us finish the song to have a union break. That's how strong the unions are there.
Yeah.
But luckily, we got the ending correct during the show.
Oh, how frustrating! Just when
I was just thinking, this is funny.
But it's exciting, you get like an excitement when you got something new to go for, and you want to do it, and then you get stopped. That's horrible.
And then you get stopped. God damn, that's crazy.
I
can see if it's the opening band. This is the headlining band. It's Black Sabbath, and you're stopping the band. For what? A break?
It would take some.
If we play another minute or two,
Yeah. It would take some balls to go out and be the one to stop you, wouldn't it? I couldn't. I wouldn't want to do it, but
yeah.
Wow,
crazy,
just amazing. Let's talk bass players for a minute, because you've worked with some incredible ones over the years. What do you look for in a bass player? Do you and I'm not after names now, but if you work with a bass player who's kind of the ultimate for you, you don't have to say who it is, because obviously I don't want to offend any of the other bass players, but is there one in particular that you'd kind of go, it'd be him every time? You don't have to say who it is, by the way. And you wouldn't anyway.
Well, I look for the groove, the pocket, where the pocket is, and he's listening to some of my patterns and things like that. But really, I was, we started off, I'll name names, Jimmy Bain. He wasn't even supposed to be the bass player in Dio, but he knew Viv, and he got Viv down, and we jammed in London. And Jimmy just assumed he was the bass player, but he was great. He's a great bass player. He's got the sound. The thing is the sound.
Yeah.
That's really, you got a good sound, it makes it a lot easier. And Jimmy had a great sound. He played with a pick, and he had a lot of low end and that clicky top end. Very cool. And he wasn't a busy bass player.
Yeah.
Which allowed me to go off a lot.
Yeah.
And come back together. And then play with Geezer Butler. Geezer's a bit more busy.
Yes.
Plays with his fingers. Of course, he gets a great sound. And he locks it in. And he plays with Tony, they're locked in. It sounds like a wall of sound with just those two guys. And different type of bass player than Jimmy. But like I said, you go in with ears open, eyes open. Yeah, he's more busy, so I stayed back a bit. Sure. I didn't go too nuts on some of the fills and grooves.
I suppose.
And then I played with Rex Brown.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And Rex Brown just fucking massive sound. He blew amps up left and right. We go rehearse at a place. After a few songs or something, we'd have to leave because the bass amp had smoke coming out, and we didn't want to pay for it. Let's go. And he just played really solid, heavy, great sound because of the low end, kind of like Jimmy, and the crank on it, a little distortion, and he had a great feel. And so I had luckily played with great bass players. And now I'm playing with Phil Soussan, who played with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And again, he's a monster player, and a different sound than the other guys, and we lock in together, and he listens, and four great bass players who played.
Do you have a preference? Do you prefer bass players who play with a pick or fingers? Do you have I suppose for monitoring wise, I guess you get a bit more clarity with the pick, do you?
Yeah, you can hear the pick better. I think it depends more on the song. If you play with your fingers, you get more low end and not so much attack. I play with Tony Franklin on a lot of session things, and he plays fretless.
Yeah, is he the fretless monster or something they call him?
He's a fretless monster. That's right. And he, we do sessions, and I'll send the drum track. If it's we played on Joel Holstra's albums.
Oh, right.
And I'll send. I finish my drums. I'll send it to Joel, and I'll send it to Tony. Tony puts his bass on, but he listens to some of the fills and plays to those fills.
Wow.
Boom, 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 boom. It's just right there, So he was a different sound too. He didn't play with a pick so much. I think he was with his fingers.
Yeah.
I know he plays with both, but I think the stuff we did.
Yeah.
So, it depends on the song. I think I probably like for the heavy rock shit. I like the pick.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I grew up listening to Motown stuff, which is
totally different.
Yeah, the groove.
And let's talk about your recording space there. Do you enjoy recording? I don't know. Is this room, is it in your home or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, this is in my house.
Cool.
There's all the shit over there. It's not a big setup. There's my suitcases. My suitcases, they work as good soundproof baffles.
Yeah, I can imagine.
A whole shitload of them up there.
Yeah.
And then the drums and the mics. It's a big room, and it's got I like recording here because I can listen to the song, I can hear what my drums sound like, and there's a bunch of snare drums there, and in the other room, could switch out and see what sounds good for the song. But I can get very granular, meaning very detailed with, if I'm playing to something and I hear just a guitar lick for a second, next part, and I go, I should catch that. And I'll go back, punch it in, different type of recording, when I can punch in, it's with a click. Whereas all the Sabbath Dio stuff and Last in Line with Vivian Campbell and Jimmy, there's no click. We just play as a band.
Yeah.
Because we rehearse and all that stuff.
Sure.
But I love it in here. This is like a laboratory. I'll go, what happens if I put the microphone up there or put it down there, and I mess around with the sounds?
It's nice to have.
I know what I want to sound like, you see.
Yeah, sure.
I know I want it to growl, so I know what I want to sound like.
Would you say are you more critical of your playing and sounds when you're in your own room rather than you would be in a working studio somewhere? Is it different, or is it the same approach?
It's pretty much the same approach in here. So what I do? If I'm doing a song, I go, let me just play to it, and I listen to it, then I'll play to it, and I'll just play whatever. And then, but I'm not really going to record the song till tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then the next day comes and I put it up. Yeah, that's fucking good. Oh, that's really good. Okay, I'm going to use that part. I'm going to re-record. I'll put it in the new take, And if I could feel it and all of that, I listen to it later on or at night. I mix it a little bit, and I know when it's good,
Sure.
I know when I didn't do enough, like it's a little lazy sounding, so then I'll do it again the next day or something. With the band, it's everybody, especially when we record, the drums are the main thing you're trying to get first.
Sure.
If I do some crazy fill, the band, it's cool, that's cool, It's like a team thing, cheering you on, So I like them both.
Yeah. But what an amazing facility to have in your house. You can do your live, you can record, if you could keep busy and keep earning money if you never left your room again, could you? Can you imagine that 20 years ago? It would be impossible. Well, not 10, 10 years ago, it would be impossible. But now,
yeah, now it's like, holy shit, man! I got a bunch of other songs that I agreed to do, and I haven't done them yet. How you could do this, and then I do some drum lessons via Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
and so I always wondered, how do you do drum lessons with Skype or Zoom, and then I started doing that and learned some of the tricks with Zoom. You got to have the mic level way down,
Yeah.
otherwise you distort it out.
Yeah.
And even if you play a lot, but it's going to go. So for lessons, you just do a short burst of things, and you can do that. And then I do interviews here. I can do a video.
Mm.
I don't have cameras for video, but I can do basic playing video.
Sure.
So yeah, this is amazing with things you could do with a setup and an internet connection.
And are you kind of self-taught with all the tech with the recording stuff? Have you
Oh
just,
yeah.
Just messed with it?
I don't know shit. I'm probably recording wrong, but to me it sounds good.
But isn't
like
it?
I'll sometimes add the levels a little hot. It's going into the yellow.
Yeah.
I go, oh, okay. And then I'll bring it down and I'll compare it, and I go, that sounds too clean.
Mm.
So I'll crank it up a bit more, So I know what I want to sound like, so that's why.
Isn't the old saying though, if it sounds good, then it's good?
Yeah.
Who cares who cares the journey you went on to get there? As long as and let's be honest, your clients, whoever they may be, would soon tell you if it was shit. Yeah.
I've recorded some stuff for Mac, who just recently passed away. His son has a cool project going on. I played about 4 songs for them, and Mac got back to me. He said, "Drums sound really good, and except this one level, you should take it down a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. And then he put his magic on a snippet of the drum track, and I went, "Whoa, that kicks ass." Because he did the Black Sabbath album, Dehumanizer.
Right.
The drums are really loud on there, and it's just a kick-ass sound on those drums. And he's the guy.
Every day
he passed away.
Every day's a school day, as they say. You just,
yeah,
one of those.
Yeah, so, but I love recording here. It's great.
That's good. I mean, and there's more of it going on these days. But and I'm guessing for anybody who wants you on their track, whoever it may be, it's going to be more affordable than having to pay for you to go to a studio and bring your gear and whatever.
Right.
It makes it kind of within reach.
Oh yeah, you'd pay for the studio. How you going to get the drums there? Then you need a tech, and it adds up. And then here, you just make a deal. Okay, send me the tracks. The whatever WeTransfer or Dropbox. It's so much easier. And plus I'm not rushed.
Yes.
And I'm not communicating through a glass going, go back to that second verse at the end. Let me punch that fill in. Here, you know what? I want to fix that. And I keep hearing it, and then I want to do something else there. So much easier like this.
Yeah.
And I played it a click, but I go off and on with the click.
Make it feel live.
I'm not just going, the click. Sometimes it'll go slightly ahead, slightly behind. So it feels breathable, and it feels like natural.
Musical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got a gig on Saturday then. Do you gig quite regularly with this band? Is this something that goes out often?
Well, this is called Sabbath Nights, like I said, and I play a lot of stuff from Mob Rules album, Dehumanizer. So stuff I'm on, and some old Heaven and Hell album. That was Bill Ward.
Yeah.
And some old Sabbath and a bit of Dio. It's a great set. Everybody will know all the songs. And I did in October, I went down to South America and I did 5 shows.
Mm-hmm.
And they went crazy. They love Sabbath and they love Ronnie. I mean, there were tears in people's eyes playing Children of the Sea.
Yeah.
And you see these big biker guys with tattoos and beards. There's tears coming. Girls in the audience going, "Oh my God, Heaven and Hell song," and all that. And so that's what this is about. And then we did a couple of shows. We did about 6 shows in the States before that. And now I got a lot of time, so we're going to keep booking this. And
Good.
the band on the East Coast, the singer is Jim Crean. Great singer. He did a lot of albums and played on a lot of people's stuff. Great singer. He played with Carmine and I in Drum Wars show we did. And Jimmy Caputo on bass from New York, and Artie Dillon on guitar. They're monster players.
Yeah.
And out here in LA, Felipe Iommi, he's on guitar. And who's playing bass is Steve. This guy, Steve. And it's a great band. They're great guys, great band. So we put the show together, and it's a fun thing. I'm not trying to.
Sounds it.
We're not trying to sell an original album. We're not trying to sell anything. We got merch, but we're not trying to sell new music or anything like that.
Isn't that quite nice, though? Not have to worry about that and just go and play some great songs.
And it's fun playing this stuff. We play Turn Up the Night and Voodoo, all the songs. Why'd you play Sign of the Southern Cross? Okay. Like slam into that. Stuff from Heaven and Hell. And then some from Dehumanizer, which you never hear.
No.
That song, that was one of Ronnie's favorite songs. That's a real heavy song. Time Machine, possibly. We'll switch them around. So this is the start. Because I just finished with Last in Line at the M3 Festival.
Okay.
Here it's a big festival. It was 2 weeks ago. And now Viv is going out with Def Leppard, Vivian Campbell.
Yeah.
So we don't play. And so I'm starting to book these gigs. We got a bunch of gigs coming up, So this is the first one. And I'm really excited.
Cool. Might we see you over in the UK, Vinny, or is it just a bit too much red tape?
We'll might get over there, We need like a promoter that will set it up. Go, look, we'll supply the gear, and there's different ways to do it. You can make a whole package and just get paid for it that way, or do the gigs and percentages or guarantees, So like South America, they just make a deal. I went, just me.
Yeah.
And I had a band down there that was fantastic. The guy could sing all the Dio stuff without tuning down.
Wow.
That's the hard part, finding a singer that could sing Dio.
Not many.
It's easier to sing Ozzy.
Yeah, much.
Easier. So Jim Crean does it both, It's a good guy who can sing it. And we're not tuned down either. So.
Yeah. Which is nice to say. Everything's the original keys and amazing.
Yeah.
Well, look, we could. There's so much more to talk about, but I don't want to keep.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't even mention John Lennon, but hey, there we go. But that's been told a few times, so I'm sure everyone knows. And if they don't know it, the story's out there. So go and have it, because it's a good one, isn't it?
And actually, they're putting a movie out called Borrowed Time.
Right.
John Lennon's story, I guess it is. And it's an English company, and they flew to LA to interview different people, and they came where I live. I'm in between San Diego and LA, and they came here and interviewed me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like an honor, like, oh man.
So you're in the film?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It didn't come out yet. They're still working on it, but
sure.
I'm in the film.
Oh, we'll keep an eye out for that. Look, Vinny, I can't tell you how grateful I am that you've done this. You found the time for me. You've done all these things, all these incredible things over the last, 40 years, whatever it is. And it's been an honor, honestly. It really has. And I really hope we get to see you over in the UK again. I think you were over here with Last in Line. Gosh, was it about? It was way before. Was it before COVID? Was it
before COVID?
Yeah.
It's funny how people measure time, but before COVID and after COVID.
Yeah, BC and
BC and AC.
AC, yeah.
Almost like AC/DC.
Yeah.
Not quite.
So look, thanks for doing this. Honestly,
if you want to set one up in the near future, just shoot me an email.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
That's cool. All right, thank you, man.
Cheers, Vinny. Take care, my friend.
Thanks everybody for listening too. If it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't be here.
No.